Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Global Beast Tamer. I, the Eternal Beast Tamer. Chapter 56. Howling Moon Sirius. Use the Eclipse Moon. Eclipse Moon, one of the skills of Xiaoyu Sirius. Evolved from the initial swallowing. It is a stronger skill than Devour. A skill exclusive to the supreme level Moon Screaming Wolf. But GTN never used this skill. Why? Because he was worried that this skill was too powerful, and the bronze level Howling Moon Sirius might not be able to control it. I didn't dare to use it in the camp before, and there were no enemies strong enough for GTN to use this skill. It's different now. Now we are in the prairie. Wherever you look, there are enemies. Then you can be unscrupulous. Xiaoyu Sirius didn't hesitate at all when hearing GTN's order, and the next moment its body began to emit silver light. The light gathers. Subsequently, Xiaoyu Sirius sprayed a silver energy ball into the sky from his mouth. The energy ball grows bigger with the wind. Countless energies were drawn from the void and gathered into the silver ball. A silvery white vortex formed. When it reaches 100 meters above the ground, the silver white vortex has grown into a vortex with a diameter of 100. Next moment, an extremely strong suction force comes from its vortex. Wolves, retreat thousands of miles immediately. GTN immediately ordered. His guess was true. He can't control this ball. So we can only order the wolves to retreat. When the wolf kings who were close to Xiaoyu Sirius saw the silver-white whirlpool, they felt a death threat gathering above their heads. If Xiaoyu Sirius hadn't been here, they had long been scared away. Now, hearing Xiaoyu Sirius's order to retreat, there was no hesitation at all. Kill them and run back. Don't dare to stop at all. Huh, why did they run away? People watching from a distance asked in confusion when they saw the wolves running away like crazy. It seems that the wolves decided to retreat. The wolves were defeated and they were scared. Someone shook his head. Really, the position of Overlord cannot be shaken at will. The wolf clan was just a counterattack after being forced into a desperate situation. Not at all trivial. They originally thought about watching a big show, but they felt disappointed. Similarly, some people who originally wanted to wait until Xiaoyu Sirius was injured looked at the escaping wolves unwillingly. A face full of hatred that iron cannot become steel. Their plan failed before it was even implemented. The silver wolf under the protection of the wolf pack is simply not within their reach. However, the crypt demon Spider King, who was still underground and had not yet drilled the hole, did not know that the wolves on the ground had already retreated. It is imagining how the wolves will be attacked by it later. The wolves will definitely regret their choice. Have they gone? Shaw, the elf girl lying on the wolf's back, said with some disappointment. Really, an opponent as powerful as the crypt demon Spider Overlord is simply not something that a young boy can deal with. But she has full confidence in GTN. Because he is very young. The future is promising. The wolves have escaped. Can we pick up the beast crystals? At this time, the person who had been watching reacted and asked weakly. I wonder if the crypt demon spider has chased it out. Someone reminded. Beast crystal is good, but the crypt demon spider clan is not easy to mess with either. Hey, didn't the wind just stop? Why did it start again? Someone expressed doubts at this time. The green grass on the grassland is swayed in all directions by the strong wind. Yes, the wind is still getting stronger. Some people stretched out their hands and felt the strong wind that was getting stronger. But he has been promoted to gold level since he came in. This little wind still can't blow him down. At this time, this group of talents discovered that, just where the wolves left just now, the giant silver-white vortex there is turning black, but the edge of the vortex always maintains the silver brilliance. The suction force generated by the dark vortex affects thousands of miles. And he is still getting bigger. Suck. The dust on the ground was the first to resist the extremely strong suction force. They were sucked into the black vortex one after another. A horizontal sandstorm actually formed. The vortex continued to grow as it absorbed material, and now had grown to a diameter of 300 meters. What is this? Feel the huge suction from the vortex. These people stabilized their bodies and asked loudly. Who knows, why don't you run away? Are you waiting to die? The people around them no longer care about anything else and start running like wolves. But some are disdainful. We are already golden, and we are considered strong in the city. Are we still afraid of a storm? Some people are disdainful. There are tens of thousands of beast crystals just around the storm. There are even thousands of gold-level beast crystals. Just pick up the beast crystal. Their trip ended perfectly. Now facing a small storm, I want them to escape. They can't do it. They don't want to do it either. There are no longer a few people who think like him. People watching the war were divided into two groups. A group of people fled frantically. They felt the fear of the whirlpool from the beasts and did not dare to stay at all. Fleeing like crazy. The other faction doesn't care about their fear of controlling beasts at all. They have already been obsessed with desire. In front of money. What is fate? Uzumaki doesn't care what other people think. Each piece of grass was also brought into the whirlpool. In the blink of an eye, it had become part of the whirlpool. The vortex expanded again and turned into a giant vortex with a diameter of 500 meters. Fortunately, I ran early. Standing above the head of the red-blooded wolf king, he looked back at the small dot in the sky in the distance, feeling relieved. But he doesn't care about other people. Everyone has his own destiny. Die early and be born early. Speed up. Speed up. GTN shouted loudly. Because the wind is blowing here too. The soil beneath the giant whirlpool had disappeared, and a large pit several meters long appeared. Ha ha ha, I got it. Beside the pile of corpses of the underground demon spider clan, someone who ran fast had already taken out a bloody beast crystal from a gold-level ferocious beast. However, before he could stand firm, a huge suction force was already coming. It sucked him up into the air together with the crypt demon spider under him. It was useless to let him struggle in every possible way. No. With a cry of regret and fear, this man completely disappeared. Not only him. More and more people are sucked into the vortex, ground into slag, and become the capital for the expansion of the vortex. The crypt demon spider clan underground also felt the huge suction force from above. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One by one, the underground demon spiders were sucked directly out of the cave entrance. What happened? The crypt demon spider king sensed that the number of his tribe was rapidly decreasing. The spider spear that continued to dig the tunnel suddenly stopped. Start climbing up. At this time, it just felt a suction. But I didn't care. Finally, it climbed out of the cave. At this time, it saw its own people being sucked into a giant whirlpool one by one. Crisis. Its body reacts instinctively when it sees the whirlpool. Run. Without the slightest hesitation, it immediately wanted to crawl into the cave again. It's just a coincidence that the giant vortex that swallowed up a large amount of matter once again underwent a qualitative change. It has doubled in size. The crypt demon spider king, who had not yet turned around, seemed to be held by a giant hand. Although it clings to the ground. But it was of no use in the face of a supergiant whirlpool. Hiss. In its unwilling shrill voice. It was caught in the whirlpool. Not another sound was made. Chapter 57. The supergiant vortex finally stopped expanding after growing to a diameter of 5,000 meters. But its energy lasted for a day and a night before it was truly exhausted. This day and night is a disaster for the ferocious beasts and lives in the western prairie. Life is almost extinct. The next day, about 30,000 miles away from the supergiant vortex, GTN, who had just rested for a few hours, had woken up again. The wind has stopped. GTN felt the breath of the grassland with all his heart. The wind finally stopped. They ran for a whole day and night, and were almost ready to return to the territory of the wolf tribe in the northern part of the grassland. The wind finally stopped. This move should never be used in the future except as a last resort. GTN was secretly vigilant in his heart. This is a way to die together. If you run slower, you might get sucked in. It's scary to think about it. But GTN also had a little fire in his eyes. If the future Xiaoyu Sirius can use and control this move, that will be a very large-scale attack method. According to GTN's conjecture, if Xiaoyu Tinlong uses this trick to its extreme, that is like a Tengu eclipsing the moon. Even the moon will be swallowed up. This is a power comparable to that of a god. Not only GTN. The other wolf kings felt the quiet wind around them. They all breathed a sigh of relief. So thrilling. Too dangerous. Terrible. Thinking of the strong wind that made them run wildly for a whole day and night, there is still an infinite shadow in their hearts. Is that the power of the emperor? At this moment, the emperor's heart was filled with awe and deep fear for the sudden arrival. In the face of such a destructive power, who can not be afraid? Who dares not to be afraid? Incredible power. The elf girl Shah, who had been carried away for a day and night, had sat up at some point and looked in the direction they came from. There is fear and shock in the eyes. Epic level combat power, comparable to that of a mid-level sacrifice. Even in the entire world, epic is an absolute high-end combat power. Even the naturally powerful dragon clan dare not underestimate any epic. Because the epic already has the power to destroy the world like the black whirlpool. That is the existence that truly attributes great power to oneself. Each of them is a living legend, and their experiences are enough to be praised for generations. And GTN is only 18 years old. He has become a being with such great power. At this moment, she looked at GTN with deep awe in her eyes. That is the awe of the strong and the legend. Terrible. Some people who made a quick decision and ran away lay on the grass and said exhaustedly. One day, one night, I ran on the grass all day and all night under the constant suction from behind. He dare not fly in the sky. He saw with his own eyes that a guy flying in the sky was dragged back violently. At this moment, he was so tired that it was difficult to even speak. That's it. He was already extremely happy in his heart. Fortunately, I trusted my own judgment on how to control the beast. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I have also been sucked into that huge whirlpool. I will think of the fear I experienced before. He couldn't help but shed tears after escaping death. He never wanted to see the terrifying whirlpool again in his life. Let's go. Let's go back and take a look. GTN flew straight onto the back of Xiaoyu Sirius. That's right. Just fly. Xiaoyu Sirius finally officially broke through to the silver level. As a result, he became a silver level beast master and gained the ability to fly in the air. Focusing on Xiaoyu Sirius, a set of data appeared in front of GTN's eyes. Name, Xiaoyu Sirius, Supreme. Strength, top silver. Qualification, Supreme, top. Bloodline, Supreme, top level. Attributes, Wind System, Beast System, Space System. Skills, Absolute Wind Blade, Fury, Wolf King's Pressure, Teleportation, Moon Eclipse, Moon Summoning Flower, Moon Shooting Aurora. With the support of GTN's experience, Xiaoyu Sirius level directly broke through to the top level of silver. The experience points also dropped by half. In other words, Xiaoyu Sirius directly consumed a small beast crystal mountain. Every time I think of this, GTN felt a burst of liver pain. No way. I feel bad. But the effect is still very good. Xiaoyu Sirius is close to 50 meters tall, and its body length is directly over 100. The silver-white hair shines brightly even in the dark night. Clean and holy. A wolf takes the lead. 10,000 wolves follow closely. After evolution, the speed of Xiaoyu Sirius increased several times. It only took half a day to arrive at a sinkhole. There is no way ahead. Sinkhole. You can't see the edge at a glance. You can't see the bottom at a glance. Groundwater keeps gushing out from the ground. And it was actually steaming. GTN knows. This is a hot spring. A sinkhole was dug into the grassland, and hot springs emerged. At this time, GTN only knows. It turns out that the power of that eclipse moon is far beyond my imagination. Unimaginable. Where is the full power of the eclipse moon? How big and deep is this sinkhole? The wolves stopped here, looking longingly at the disappearing grassland in the west. 1/3 of the entire grassland is occupied by this huge sinkhole. As can be expected, even if the sea changes into mulberry fields, it will be difficult to completely erase this huge scar. Countless years later, it will become an inland sea. The legend of the Wolf King will be spread here. At the same time, a piece of data appeared in front of GTN's eyes. Task completion. 7100ths. Change direction. GTN looked to the east. That is the most fertile soil on the grassland. There are swarms of ferocious beasts there. There was the last piece of territory they needed. Ouch. Xiaoyu Sirius gave instructions to the wolves. Ouch. 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 1,000 wolves are boiling. If they were forced by the power and strength of Xiaoyu Sirius before. So now they are following from the bottom of their hearts. They know. It is really possible for the emperor who leads them to unify this endless grassland. They will become the only overlords of the grassland. East. 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 All the wolves could not restrain their excitement, and kept stepping with their limbs. Following the leadership of Xiaoyu Sirius, all wolves changed direction, heading towards the last pure land of the grassland. There will be a fire of war over them. That will be the back garden of their wolf tribe. And all this is because of the appearance of the Wolf King, and their wolf tribe will become the eternal masters of this grassland. The elf girl looked to the east. She knows this is the final war. Once successful, the entire grassland will be embraced by this man. This will be his back garden. Can he succeed? The girl silently said in her heart. Probably so. Chapter 58. Soon after the wolves left, some bold people returned to the west. They also stopped at the sinkhole in silence. They're all dead. A boy in black tights whispered in despair. There are brothers who have been with him through life and death. Before escaping, he had already advised his brother. But the other party didn't listen. As a result, even the body can't be found now. I hope such a disaster will never happen again. A man with an afro next to him looked at the water-spouting sinkhole and prayed. He didn't want to experience such a disaster again. Thinking about the scene before, he couldn't help but tremble. That was a scene he would never forget for the rest of his life. Let's go. I heard that the wolves are heading to the east. Maybe that's the final battlefield. The man in tights patted the shoulders of his remaining brothers and said slowly. The wolves went to the east. Are you planning to compete with the last overlord? After hearing the news about the man in tights, Afro immediately recovered from his sadness and said in surprise. No wonder he was surprised. This news is really shocking. At the same time, it brings intense excitement. The wolves first went to the Crypt Demon Spider clan in the west, and then the entire grassland to the west turned into a sinkhole. Now heading east again. Do you still want to occupy the east? And then unify the entire grassland? Hiss. Thinking of this possibility, Afro took a breath of shock. The wolves are so terrifying. But, back to the original question. What does this have to do with them? He seems to know what the man with the afro is thinking. The man in tights quickly put his head next to the afro's ear and said. Let me tell you quietly, there are rumors that the overlord of the east has already laid eggs. What? The egg of a palace-level ferocious beast. Hearing the whispers of his tight-fitting companions, the afro couldn't help but shout out. This is the egg of a palace-level overlord. That means that as long as the contract is signed, you will be a palace-level overlord in the future. That's someone who can become the mayor. Now, there was such an opportunity in front of him. How could he not be excited? Keep your voice down, don't let others hear it. The man in tights turned dark. He originally planned to find a helper to accompany him. I didn't expect this to be of any help. I looked around. It was discovered that the people around them heard Afro's words and immediately surrounded the two of them. Are you telling the truth? A fierce and strong man couldn't help but ask first. Originally I just came to see the situation, but I didn't expect to hear such exciting news. Yes, if you dare to lie to us, we are not vegetarians either. Yes, having fun alone is not as good as having fun together. We are all brothers, so we share the blessings. Several people gathered around said. Anyway, if these two people don't explain it clearly today, they won't be able to figure it out. Then it's hard to bear the burden. Why didn't you say anything? Afro curled his lips and glanced at the man. The man didn't answer and pretended he didn't hear anything. Oh, pig teammates. The man in the tights knew he had to say something. Otherwise, I'm afraid it would be impossible to leave. Yes, the high-ranking overlord on the east side of the grassland has laid eggs. Now he is in a weak stage. The man in tights told the news he knew again. How do you know such important news? Some people are confused. Seeing someone asking about his identity, the man in tights seemed to gain confidence and waved his hand. I am a person sent by the Zhang family in Qin City. As soon as the man in tights finished speaking, there were some startled sounds all around. Qincheng Zhang family. It turned out to be a member of the Zhang family. That's disrespectful. So this news seems to be reliable. The sturdy man took a step back, not as threatening as before. This is the power of the backend. Listen to its name. Respect his voice. HMPH. Seeing that the people around them were no longer as rude as before, they gained some confidence. Originally, this was not something we could pay attention to, but now a variable has appeared. It gives us such an opportunity. I think you all know what to do now, right? The man in tights asked loudly, and after speaking, he glared around. Ah, you see, this is all a misunderstanding. When we get out, I will come to your door to apologize. A man in Xing Yi clasped his fists and said, yes, yes, it was our fault this time. I will apologize to you in the future. I have something urgent to do, so I will leave first. This time, Zhuang Zhuang's head seemed to suddenly become more sensitive, and he left after speaking. Without stopping. Then, others have similarly realized something. Turning his eyes, they apologized to the two people one after another, and then immediately ran around and disappeared on the grassland in the blink of an eye. HMPH, do you really think my advantage is so easy to earn? The man in tights sneered as he watched the people disappear one by one. Hee, the water in this basin is going to be muddy now. Afro smiled evilly. He is not a pig teammate. Everything just happened was agreed upon by them. Just to spread the news and attract more people. Come on, let's go too. This time the geniuses from the major families and those colleges may have to play early. Only in this way can we have a chance. Yes, this way we have a glimmer of hope. Thinking of that palace-level egg. Both of them had deep fire in their eyes. But when they learned the news, this news was also learned by several other people. Among them was a person from one of the 4 major colleges. You know it without even thinking about it. If you fight with that person, they can't compete at all. But that one also has an opponent. As for worrying about retaliation if the news comes out. Joke. After they contracted a ferocious beast with hall-level qualifications, those colleges were probably rushing to get it, so how could they be held accountable? Even those geniuses will be trampled under their feet. Thinking of this, the two looked at each other and smiled, then quickly flew toward the east. Chapter 59. News spreads the fastest. It's just one morning. This news has been known to all people or other races who have entered the secret realm. The end of the grassland. Let's go. The egg of the palace-level ferocious beast. This time, even if the demigod comes, you have to get it for me. A strong man from Xuanwu Academy received the news and quickly led his people towards the east. On a hill in an unknown place. How can we at Suzaku Academy not be involved in such a thing? Moreover, I heard that it was the egg of a sky lord. This is a standard for our Suzaku Academy. A slender beauty with a hot body and domineering figure waved the whip in her hand and controlled a huge sky beast and said coquettishly. The 4 beauties behind her who had the same figure as her also nodded excitedly. Zook Academy only recruits women. Every one of them is stunning. The egg of a palace-level ferocious beast. No one can ignore it. Let's go. What I like at White Tiger Academy doesn't belong to anyone else. A handsome man wearing a white tight-fitting tiger suit with a knife across his waist took out the beast crystal from the head of the dead gold-level ferocious beast and said lightly. Promise. Several men behind him who were also wearing white tiger uniforms shouted respectfully. Another place. Don't worry. Let's go as soon as we catch the woman in front and let them beat them first. The last palace-level ferocious beast egg must be from our Qinglong Academy. A man wearing green silk and green dragon armor smiled and said. Grab the woman in front. He wants the eggs of palace-level ferocious beasts. He also wants the secret treasure. Chase. This woman can't run away for long, she took my things. Wait until I catch her and see how I train her. Promise. Several people behind him also smiled. Qinglong College is the strongest college among the 4 major colleges. They are not worried at all that others dare to compete with them. What matters is the treasure in front. Then maybe there is news about the secret treasure. Thinking of the value of the secret treasure. The eyes of several people are even more intense. Even if the secret treasure must belong to the boss. But there must be other treasures around the secret treasure, and they can still drink the soup. That's enough for them to make a fortune. While talking, several people sped up again. How long can I hold on? Is it still necessary to hold on? In front of several people from Qinglong Academy, a woman in black clothes covered in blood walked tenaciously. At this moment, she was almost completely exhausted. The yellow complexion was caused by her forced overdraft of vitality. The black clothes on his body were in tatters, worse than the beggars outside. But the belief in her heart supported her to persevere. Her mother is still waiting for her to go back and save her. She can't fall here. Ahem. The girl coughed twice, and a faint stream of blood came out of her mouth. Reaching out his hand to wipe away the blood from the corner of his mouth, the girl's eyes returned to a determined look again. Him. As long as I find him, I can be saved. Now. GTN's majestic appearance appeared in her heart. Take one step forward. Even the young master from an aristocratic family has to kneel down. He is her only support in the secret realm. The only person she can trust. Even if you die, I also want to hand over the key in my hand to him. He can definitely rescue my mother. I am coming. GTN, show up now. I beg you. I can't hold on any longer. ... A palace-level cub. Boring. Several Western dragons who were grilling a golden high-level ferocious beast curled their lips after listening to the news passed on. Just a palace-level cub. Which one of them is not a descendant of the royal family? There are even epic descendants. Other races flocked to it, but they looked down upon it. It's not worth their while. Several Western dragons stretched out their bloody mouths and bit off a large piece of the more than 10 meters long leg of the ferocious beast that had been roasted on the ground. The humans still know how to eat it. The cooked ones are better than the raw ones. They are more fragrant. You must go to the humans when you have time and find some two-legged sheep chefs as slaves. A green dragon munched on the fragrant roast meat without forgetting to talk. HMPH. It's all Uncle Yin's fault for saying that in order to maintain the nature of the dragon clan, we must eat raw meat. What a pity. I'm late for such delicious food. A white dragon suddenly raised its head, swallowed the fat in its mouth, and said with satisfaction. Before we leave, we must eat well. I don't know when the next time we will eat. The largest and strongest silver dragon also said happily. We have to hurry up and hurry up. We have wasted 5 days here. If we kill that big bird as soon as possible, we can have more fun. The green dragon wearing glasses pushed up his glasses with his front finger and said slowly, he is also the most elegant among all the dragons in eating meat. Chew carefully and slowly. Yes, kill that smelly bird as soon as possible, and maybe we can find the girl from the elf clan. The strong red dragon's eyes were shining and he even forgot to eat the meat in his hands. Hey, hurry up and eat. Let's grab the elven girl to be a slave, and then grab a few human two-horned sheep to be the cooks. Chapter 60. The entire grassland was shaken by this news, and the orcs were no exception. The orcs are not weaker than humans. Shangda, what should we do? A group of creatures with human bodies but various animal heads gathered together to tear the fat in their hands. One of them was fat and had a yellow bear head. What should I do? I'll crush him with a stick and force him to do it. The strong man with the gray bear head shouted loudly without hesitation. Don't miss this opportunity. A palace-level ferocious beast egg. As long as you contract it, you can also become a palace-level beast master. Shangda thought about how all kinds of bunny girls and cat girls would kneel on the ground and sing conquest after he became a palace-level beastmaster. My mouth is watering. He can even go to the elves to grab 1 or 2 girls and serve him every day. Shangda, the elder didn't let us in just for fun. A woman with a mediocre body and a crane head frowned and said dissatisfied. Seeing Shangda's greedy and sinful eyes, she knew what Shangda was thinking. Really disgusting. I don't know why the elder asked him to be the team leader. I am no worse than him. Damn patriarchal society. I will overthrow this decadent orc system. The crane-headed woman secretly decided in her heart. After returning this time, we will immediately establish the Female Orc Protection Association. In the future, the women of the orc tribe will no longer be the vassals of men. Secretly keeping her ideal in her heart, she knew that what she had to do now was to quickly improve her strength. Only in this way could she save those of the same sex who were in dire straits. She must fight to the death to break this damn orc social structure. Ha, I'm the team leader this time, you have no place to interrupt here. Seeing that a woman dared to scold him, Shangda retorted unhappily. Orcs are a male-dominated society. Male orcs are supreme, and female orcs have no status at all. Among them, women from the cat tribe, rabbit tribe, and fox tribe can even be sold and traded as goods. They are the orcs most loved by all the orc tribes. Cut. The crane-headed female orc did not give him any face, and revealed her own strength faintly. Gold intermediate. How come? Several orcs around were shocked. They were all top silver when they came in. Now a few days have passed, and some of them have just broken through to the golden stage, but this already makes them very happy. Did not expect. Unexpectedly, one of them silently broke through to the golden middle stage. And she is also the only woman among the 5 of them. This caused the status of the crane-headed woman to change instantly among these orcs. Haha, you broke through the golden middle stage without saying a word. Shangda laughed awkwardly, but at the same time he was secretly worried. It seemed that he had offended her. I'm afraid that in the middle stage of the golden period, even a few other people can't beat it. This is how to do. From now on, I will act alone and you will do as you please. The crane-headed female orc finished speaking. Without waiting for their consent, his hands turned into a pair of white wings and soared into the sky. It disappeared in the blink of an eye. The remaining orcs looked at each other in confusion. Is the middle stage of the golden stage amazing? After Shangda, upgrades, I will turn into an ancient giant bear and press her to the ground and rub her. When Shangda saw the crane-headed female orc leaving, he immediately returned to his original state and said fiercely. Yes, she is just a woman, but she still dares to show off her skills in front of us. Yellow Bear too immediately agreed. Shangda is his brother, so of course he has to protect Shangda. The other 3 didn't say that. Because this crane beast man is a bit strange. How did she improve so quickly? Hehe, before I came in, the elder gave me a secret treasure for this operation, the magic pearl. As long as this incense is lit, even the top-level golden beasts will lose their minds and let us control them, and even the palace-level beasts will be affected by it. Quote. Shangda smiled confidently at the effect of the magic god bead and continued. We will convince the overlord later and use the ferocious beasts from the east to gather together. After all the races have arrived, I will release the magic god pearl immediately. I want all races to be involved in the attack of the ferocious beasts. Quote. At that time, we will not only be able to obtain palace-level ferocious beast eggs, but also a large number of beast crystals. The orcs were originally here to compete with the geniuses of all races. Whether it's light or dark. Anyway, as long as you win, that's it. You can also earn some interest by the way. A few hours later. In the cave of the Eastern Overlord. Several orc tribesmen laughed out loud while holding a feather with its breath given by the Overlord Sky Splitter. No surprises. After they talked about cooperation. The cracking eagle quickly agreed. Next. Then they can proceed to the next step. I really hope more talents can be killed this time. After a few people left. The skycracker in the cave they left suddenly opened its eyes, showing a playful expression. The fun has just begun. He looked at the powerful aura that was getting closer with his sharp eyes, with unprecedented caution in his eyes. It's time to prepare for the next battle. The one who comes is very strong. But it's not weak either. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.